guys, we have an interesting video by Atozy. Hitman, 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 Hitman.
This businessman hired a hitman who hired a
And a
hitman who
hitman
then
hired
hired
a
a hitman who
hitman.
then hired a hitman who hired a hitman, and somehow the job was never done. I mean, this is hands down one of the most
Jesus.
ridiculous stories I've ever came across, and it's a massive lesson on how delegation isn't always efficient. But I mean, thankfully, this wasn't the case, especially for
How
the
expensive
target
was
and
the
all this.
original
When you think of a
Hitman?
completely deranged person who would
And
actually want
how
to hire a
expensive was the
hitman, you would
cheapest?
probably imagine, I guess, the hitman being, I don't know, a decent hitman. You know, discreet, professional, bald with a barcode on the back of his head, and most definitely not an undercover.
No. You realize how stuff is dropping in quality? You're talking about probably like a 70s Hitman there. Yeah, like the quality is falling off on everything. Come on, you're talking about the 70s quality of Hitman.
Federal agent waiting to harpoon your life because you were dumb enough to actually do something like this. But regardless, what you probably don't imagine is someone whose first instinct is to look at the contract and go, I don't have time for this. I wonder if I can hire another cheaper hitman than this and pay him less than what I just got paid. Well, that's exactly what happened in today's story a whole bunch of times. And I mean, this story really has everything. You have a businessman who's convinced taking someone's life would be easier to deal with than dealing with a lawsuit, and of course, a whole
Yeah, what? My qualm. Well, that's the wrong word for it. My qualm with that. That's the wrong word with it. I don't understand that reasoning because one, more than likely you're gonna be found out. Everybody who thinks that they're a really good, killer, yeah, no, you always get found out. How stupid do you have to be to think, oh yes, it's easier to end this person's life versus actually pay them? That has to be some brand of stupidity because other than that, like logically speaking, you're probably gonna get found out. It's easier and cheaper to just pay the person, in my opinion. But again, opinions are like donkeys. Everybody's got one.
chain of endless hitmen. And it pretty much seems like they treated this assassination attempt like it was some weird group project they desperately didn't want to do. And it ended up getting so insane that if it wasn't backed up by court documents, I would assume this is some bizarre movie script. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. So the story begins in 2013 in Nanning, a city in southern China, where a real estate developer by the name of Tan Yuhui found
Over
himself in a dispute
over
with another
13 years ago
businessman named
already.
Wei. The
Shit.
two had been involved in the same property development, but things apparently fell apart. Wei had filed a civil lawsuit connected to the project, and according to court documents, Tan became very worried that the legal battle could cost him a whole bunch of money. Now, obviously the situation sucks, but most reasonable people would either
Shoot.
try to find some sort of middle ground or hire a lawyer. Who knows? Maybe they'll just try to settle, but Tan apparently skipped every reasonable option.
Yeah.
Jumped straight to, what if he just
Screw
wasn't around
being
anymore?
reasonable.
Okay, so according to the court, Tan hired a man by the name of Shi to take Wei's life, and even provided Shi with everything he needed: a photocopy of Wei's ID, his phone number, his license plate number, and then personally handed over 2 million yuan in cash, which is worth
Damn! Oh my gosh!
at the time of that payment. And
282,000 to enter. Oh my gosh!
Because after taking that job, and more importantly, after taking the money, she came to the realization, I guess I don't have to do it. Might as well hire someone else. So now you might
Oh my
think,
gosh!
shouldn't that have occurred to him before he accepted this contract? Well, apparently not.
Pay a druggie to do it for $2,000, make them think they're getting such a good deal. Oh, that's so messed up, I know. I'm a bad person for thinking that way, but still, that would work. It definitely would work.
Instead, she came up with what he must have thought was, I guess, an extremely brilliant business strategy. So he just hired another hitman. I'm not kidding. And according to the court, she handed him 1 million yuan to another man by the name of Mo Chanshang and basically said, congratulations, this is your problem now. So he pocketed 1 million yuan, gave the next guy 1 million yuan, and said, good luck. And just like that, she was officially in the subcontracting business. And the funniest part about all of this is at no point did anyone stop and think to themselves, wait a minute, did the guy who gave me this contract Is he doing the same thing to me? Mo, after he took the money, also looked at the job and went, uh-oh, I might get life in prison if I do this. So
well,
he
yes,
too got
of
into the
course,
subcontracting business.
as you should.
So instead of Mo going on to do this, he hired another man by the name of Yang. Only this time, the budget has shrunk again. So Yang received apparently 270,000 yuan up front, with another 500,000 yuan promised after the job was done. Mo didn't take as much of the pie as the first guy because he's only pocketing about 230,000 yuan after the hit's finished. But obviously, if you're keeping score, we've already gone from a 2 million yuan contract to a deal worth less than half of it. And at this rate, I was expecting the last guy to be offered a punch card and a free coffee. But honestly, the funniest thing is, this wasn't some rushed decision either, because according to court records, these men were also passing along Way's information every single time. His ID, his phone number, his license plate, even a white cell phone containing photos of him. Honestly, this was just world's worst onboarding package. It's like, okay, new guy, here, take him out. Essentially, every new recruit got the exact same folder. Welcome to the team, here's the target, here's the paperwork, good luck, don't get caught. Except, apparently nobody intended to do the job.
This is horrendous, it's bad that I'm laughing. It's really bad,
guy who might do it for a little bit cheaper. It's like those, what are they called? The Russian stacking dolls, but like, you know, it's going from big to small and they just like jump out of each other.
Except it's
this
money.
Is what's going on right here. And of course, if you thought Yang was finally gonna break the cycle, absolutely not. He was gonna
Russian
do it.
nesting dolls.
Got into the subcontracting business and he immediately started looking for someone else to do his work. So according to the court, Yang offered another man by the name of Yang. Yes, they're two different people. Both are named Yang. First Yang is named Yang Kongshang. Second Yang is named Yang Guangshang. I swear they're two different people. There's a slight spelling difference on the last name. I am probably butchering the last name. I'm not pronouncing it correctly, I don't think. I guess this is kind of like the Chinese version of Joe Smith hiring Joe Schmidt to do his dirty work. Regardless, Yang offered Yang 200,000 yuan up front, plus another 500,000 yuan once the job is completed. What is he pocketing? Like 80,000 yuan? He's not pocketing that much money anymore. It was the first guy who pocketed a lot of money. But honestly, I don't even think it matters because everyone involved here is making equally questionable decisions here. Regardless though, Yang 2 accepted the offer from Yang 1 and he did the exact same thing. I'm pretty much starting to think that these weren't hitmen at all. They're all just kind of recruiters. So he passed the contract on to a fifth man by the name of Ling Jianxi, and he promised him 100,000 yuan if he took Wei's life. Suddenly that payment reduced a whole bunch. We just dropped
that's crazy.
700,000 to 100,000. But the last two guys didn't take that much in comparison. Obviously, I'm judging them for being hitmen, but I'm also judging them with how greedy they are in their subcontracting work.
Yes. Oh my
the original
gosh.
contract was worth 2 million yuan. And by the time it finally reached Ling at the end here, the guy who's supposed to do all of this, he was offered 100,000 yuan, which is, you know, 5% of the original deal. So somewhere along the line, this assassination had turned into world's most inefficient franchise. Essentially, everyone above Ling had taken a cut and nobody really took that much risk. Well, I mean, I guess it is the risk of hiring a hitman. But relative to actually doing the acts, they're getting compensated whole.
Honestly, it's crazy that the risk, people got lucky for 3 cycles. Yeah, 3 cycles. 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. Yeah, 3 cycles. I would imagine that they would have gotten caught sooner. It'd be. I know we'd never know, but what's the record for how many cycles it go? Somebody doing it all the way down to like $50 US?
A lot better than the guy at the end. Honestly, if this chain just kept going, the 6th guy would have probably been offered a coupon and a firm handshake. But this whole process didn't happen overnight either. According to reports, this chain of subcontracting stretched for over 6 months. They spent 6 months doing this. So essentially, the project management here took way longer than making the plan itself. But obviously, the contract ended up with Ling. And I guess Ling was the first guy to not think, oh, hey, I know a guy. Instead, he came up with an idea that somehow made the story even more stranger, because Ling took, I guess, one look at the offer and decided 100,000 yuan, that's just not worth it. And I guess not because in his head it was wrong, but because if he got caught, he would be risking years, if not the rest of his life in prison.
Well,
so I guess instead of, I don't know, sharpening a knife or buying a plane ticket to do whatever he was going to do, he did something no one else in the story really considered. He contacted the guy he was supposed to take out. Yeah, that's some 4D chess. So according to the court, Ling first left Wei a note, and essentially the two eventually agreed to meet at a cafe in Nanning. Now imagine being Wei for a second. You go to a random coffee shop and the dude sits down next to you and says, hey, I was offered 100,000 won to take you out. Yeah, it's not something you want to hear. That's awful. But somehow it gets weirder because Ling then pitches what is, without a question, the most bizarre business proposal of the entire story. So he then goes, what if we fake your murder? How does the
Oh
story
my
keep going further into left
gosh,
field?
of
Also, the fact that he
course.
accepted is the craziest part of this entire story. Dude goes,
Oh my-
hey, I was offered a
Holy crap. Go from yes. Here, take this job. Cut it in half, cut it in half, cut it in half for the price of the assassination. To, oh, hey, you want to fake your death and then we split 50-50? Oh, that's
100,000 won
glorious.
to take you out. We fake your murder. Is that good with you? And he goes, yeah, it sounds good. What? So the two of them went on to stage a photo. And according to the court, Wei allowed Ling to photograph him with his hands bound behind his back so Ling would have, I guess, proof that the contract had been carried out. And I guess after all of this, Ling even handed over the white cell phone containing all of Wei's personal information. You know, the same phone that had been passed from hitman to hitman throughout the entire scheme. So he gave the victim all of his personal information, or a phone containing all of his personal information. But regardless, Ling had everything he needed. He had a convincing photo, a story to tell, and 5 very gullible men waiting for an update. So according to reports, Ling sent the photo back to Yang 2, who believed it. So Yang 2 sent the information to Yang 1, who also believed it and kept passing the news up the chain. So eventually it all got back to Tan, the businessman
How
who
did
paid
you
millions for this
reported?
whole operation. But I guess the crazy part about this is nobody asked for any more proof beyond one photo. Not a single follow-up question. They just all collectively went, yeah, it looks right. Okay, cool. Thank you. Meanwhile, Wei,
Oh
the
my
man who was supposed
gosh.
to, you know, not be alive anymore, he walked into the police station. Yeah, with that phone, of course. So that's it. After 6 months of planning, negotiating, subcontracting, taking commissions, and staging fake
All of
evidence,
the he's got
entire
all of the
conspiracy fell
evidence.
apart because the intended victim simply just told the police what happened. So the victim then literally walked in and said, okay, you guys aren't going to believe this. This guy hired this guy, hired this guy, hired this guy, who hired this guy, who hired this guy, who walked up to me, confronted me at a coffee shop and went, hey, can we fake your death so I can then pass that back up the chain? Oh, by the way, here's all the information that's been passed all the way down. So Wei made it pretty easy for them. Or well, honestly, they made it easy for Wei to make it easy for the investigators, because by the time the investigators were finished, every single person involved, from the businessman to the guy who asked to stage the fake death, they were all charged. Essentially, the only person who came out of this whole ordeal without a prison sentence was the guy everyone has been trying to take out. And the peak irony here is they were all subcontracting because they didn't want jail time, but they all got jail time. So congratulations,
how much
guys.
jail time did they all get?
Though, the legal battle
we have to know
wasn't
this.
over. In fact, the first time this case actually went to trial in 2016, all 6 men were acquitted because prosecutors didn't have enough evidence to secure convictions.
You're kidding
imagine
me.
being Wei. You survive a murder plot that's somehow been passed through more middlemen than a construction project, and then everyone walks free. Fortunately for him, though, prosecutors appealed the decision, and the case stayed tied up in courts for another 3 years before China's Nanning Intermediate People's Court issued a final ruling in October 2019. Tan, the businessman who started the whole thing, received 5 years in prison. She, the first hitman, got 3 years
Hard labor,
and 6
I hope?
months. Yang 1 and Yang 2 each received 3 years in prison. Mo got 3 years. And then finally, Ling, the last man on the chain who ultimately exposed the whole plot, he got sentenced 2 years and 7 months. So this was absolutely not a story about criminal masterminds, but it was so bizarre, I just wanted to share it with you guys.
Bizarre is to put it short. I would imagine somebody would have been crazy enough to just actually do it, and then it gets leaked, not it be passed down the chain, subcontracted out continuously to the continuously only 3 times, but still, that's almost like a movie plot. I would explain that as a very dumb movie plot, which now that I say that, I'm assuming Hollywood's gonna go ahead and copyright a movie. I don't know how that works, but like, hey, you guys enjoyed, please go follow Atozy. He's awesome. Again, bizarre story. Hitman hires a hitman, hires a hitman, hires a hitman. Insane. I'll see you guys next time. Follow my links below. Follow, follow, follow. Thank you. Bye bye.